Next week, or Friday, December is here, but check out this forecast. It's so beautiful. Beautiful. No snow. No complaints from this guy. Let's head right to Chief Meteorologist Gary Lezak. The Christmas tree stands in between you and I. Let me get over here.
I decorated it. All right.
Not a bad job. Well, Congress back to work today and back to more talk of sexual harassment allegations. Senator Al Franken speaking out, and longtime Congressman John Conyers leaving a leadership position. Both now facing ethics investigations. NBC's Blaine Alexander has the story from D.C. Get this, roughly 7,200 children and more than 400,000 children nationwide are all in foster care. In Johnson County, there's one local organization providing insight on what it's like for a child caught up in the system. The Now's Ray Daniel explains. This, by the way, the third year Foster Adopt Connect has done the Journey Home Tour, and the first year this tour has gone through Johnson County. We've got to talk about it, right? It's not Victory Monday in Kansas City, but for Chiefs fans, you might as well call it Frustration Monday. Fans reeling after another loss, this time to the Buffalo Bills. The team just can't seem to get things right, having lost 5 of their last 6 games.
41 Action News starts right now.
And we come on the air at 10 with breaking news. The police standoff ends in Lawrence, but the suspect remains on the run. Breaking details tonight on Harvey. The National Hurricane Center just downgraded it to a tropical depression.
Yeah, the center says heavy rain has ended for the Houston and Galveston area.
And while they are nowhere near the devastation Harvey caused, one local group still saving lives from more than 700 miles away. Only on 41 Action News, Dia Wall shows us how. In fact, we've learned authorities evacuated homes within a mile and a half of that plant. Meanwhile, help for Texans is coming from across the border. Today, emergency workers from the Mexican Red Cross offered aid. So here's the bottom line with this airport issue. Even after the city votes on Edgemore getting the contract, the final decision is up to you, the voter.
So you're going to put like a mix of stuff.
Hip-hop in there.
You said, I know what's up.
Yeah, I know what's up. Is that for the 80s also?
That's up and we're out. We'll see you back here at 6. Now, we just found out the power outage number is now less than 20,000. Check it out for yourself. At last check, it is slightly above 17,000. This, by the way, just one of several issues mounting against the Jackson County Jail. As we said, this is the 2nd inmate to die just this year. Barring a miracle, today could be one of the last home games of the season for the Kansas City Royals. You're looking live at the K right now as they prepare to take on the Detroit Tigers. First pitch set for 7:15. Right now, the boys in blue, they're battling it out, still hanging on by just a bit for a wild card spot in the playoffs. A great night.
You sound so depressed about this, like you think they're not going to get it.
Fat lady, she may not be singing yet, but she's warming up her vocal cords. Me. She really...
Get her out of this stadium. This might be hard to take in, but chocolate could be gone as early as 2050.
That's it. I'm done. It's all because cacao plants could disappear in a few decades because of warmer temperatures and drier weather conditions. This is hard to read. According to Business Insider, scientists at the University of California and the Mars Candy Company are teaming up, folks. They want to try to save the cacao plant before it's too late. They're thinking about using a gene editing technology to make crops that can survive these new weather challenges.
You going to be okay?
I don't know. I may have to talk to someone about this. It's about everyone within a 100-mile radius, within a 1,000-mile radius excited about this game, this upcoming game here tomorrow. We're less than 24 hours away. We talk about the tradition with KU. I mean, 15 Final Four titles, 9 championship game appearances, 3 championships, and they hope the 4th one comes right here behind me. The same site where the 3rd one happened 10 years ago.
6 3-pointers away from setting the all-time single-season record for threes made in a season.
Fire away.
Everybody on the floor can fire away.
All right, big men, big game, and big coverage. So we'll be here throughout the weekend giving you the latest from San Antonio. You know, Tom, I've seen a wide range of emotions in just the past, let's say, 12 to 18 hours, and that mood has really taken a dive in the last few minutes or so. There's been a mass exodus of fans from outside here at the Alamo Dome, and unfortunately, most of those fans, they've been wearing Jayhawk blue. A complete 180 from what things were like 1, maybe 2 hours ago. There are thousands. That's the mood here. Our team coverage continues, though, with 41 Action News reporter Mackenzie Nelson, who's in Lawrence right now. And Mackenzie, I'd imagine, is kind of somber there as well. We continue that team coverage of the tragedy in Parkland, Florida, as we struggle to kind of make sense of something so senseless. The sheriff in Broward County, Florida, says the suspect's social media posts are very disturbing. Only thing constant in the weather department is change. So say goodbye to those temperatures that were approaching 70.
I know. It was nice while it lasted, though, right?
Hopefully it makes a return sooner rather than later.
So your weekend is definitely going to be interesting as we'll see 50s and then eventually 60s again. Nice, huh?
I thought Six Flags had me nauseous. Whoa, this forecast, man, too much.
You're not too squeamish, are you?
I saw folks with shorts on today, and tomorrow they have on parkas.
Welcome to Kansas City, right?
Yeah, you've been warned. Thank you, sir. Next on the Now, we're going to be talking about our safety on the roads. Right now, a former student charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder after yesterday's tragic shooting at a Florida high school. 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, he's been expelled, but officers say he came to the school and opened fire. More than a dozen people hurt in all. Many remain hospitalized right now. Today, a mom whose 14-year-old daughter was killed in that shooting, pleading for action from President Trump.
The gunman.
We continue our team coverage of this tragedy. Every time there's a mass shooting, every time there's an immediate call for gun control, help for the mentally ill, something, anything to be done. Unfortunately, words are easier than action. So the Now's political correspondent Mike Sachs reports on the president's response and the reality check for lawmakers. In this global economy, the transportation industry is the new hot ticket for job seekers. 41 Action News anchor Cynthia Newsom tells us about the new push right here in Kansas City to get high school girls on track for high-paying, rewarding careers. You go, girl. High school girls can learn more about careers in transportation at a free event. It'll be tonight at 6 at the Treek Design Group in Kansas City. Head to KSHB.com for a link to women in transportation. New at 6, a 14-year-old behind bars in Raytown accused of stealing a truck and 2 loaded guns. The truck reported stolen early this morning. Officers found the truck and the accused thief in an apartment complex on 61st Street and Raytown Road. The teen tried to run but was caught. Officers say the guns were taken from a different vehicle last week. And also new at 6, shots were fired at a Kansas City home full of people a day after Thanksgiving. Officers say it happened near St. John Avenue in Askew late Friday night. According to investigators, 8 people were inside the house when someone fired several shots from a car. 1 bullet flew into the living room. Thankfully, everyone is okay. Here is something you may want to think about for Halloween. Really? Lice?
I really don't want to think about it. But it's one of those things, as a parent, you have to think about it.
Kansas City doing its part to get a good grip on the film industry. It's the only city in America to enact a local film incentive without having one at the state level. And if you don't think the road to Tinseltown travels through Kansas City, think again.
We'll put you to the test right now.
I'll take cool stories in the Now KC for 200, Alex.
One of the really interesting things about this is it cuts across so many different people, like old, young, Republican, or Democrat.
What is Jeopardy?
This is Jeopardy!
And this is Andy Highland. Will be out the entire season with an Achilles injury. 41 Action News reporter Sarah Plague live after talking with fans who are definitely hoping for the best still, Sarah. No doubt he remains a big part of Chiefs Kingdom. Sarah, thank you. The weather here in Kansas City, nothing to complain about. So we'll go from the Chiefs to our chief, Garrett Lezak, tracking days and days and days of these perfect temperatures. It is crunch time for the president and GOP as lawmakers try to get tax reform passed with roughly 3 working weeks left in the year. The president working with members of the Senate Finance Committee today, and then tomorrow he heads to Capitol Hill to secure the votes he needs. MSNBC correspondent Garrett Hake following this story for us. Garrett, will we see a Senate vote by the end of the week? A lot of us love getting a fresh Christmas tree for the holidays, but here's something you may not be thinking about. How many bugs are living in that tree, sitting in your living room right now? One pest control company says as many as 25,000 bugs could be living in one of those trees. 25,000 bugs living in one of those trees. And you could be bringing them into your home. We're talking about everything from aphids to mites to bark beetles, the sawfly. Those bugs, they aren't dangerous for people, but they can be very, very annoying. Here's one simple thing you can do about this. Leave your Christmas tree in the garage for a few days. You should also shake it out before you bring it inside. If you haven't picked out the perfect Christmas tree just yet, we talk with an expert on what to look for, especially if you want that tree to look lush and beautiful all season long. Kansas Governor Sam Brownback one step closer to a spot in President Trump's administration.
The Senate committee again voted to approve.
Today, Amazon announced the finalists in the fight to win its second headquarters in Kansas City. Didn't make it.
Didn't make it. It's disappointing news for the city, which pulled out all the stops.
Meanwhile, House Republicans planning to vote tonight on a short-term spending bill that would keep the government running, and they don't have much time because the deadline is tomorrow night. We keep talking about how bad the flu season is right now. We have new numbers. It puts it in perspective. It shows just how bad this virus is hitting the metro. We talked with several health departments about how many cases there's. One Action News consumer alert, a coffee sold nationwide being recalled because of one of the ingredients. It's similar to an ingredient found in Viagra. It's called Natural Herbs Coffee, the Kopi Janton version. Folks, we're inside Kemper Arena. You really have to take a seat to see this next story. In fact, take more than one seat. Take 5 of them. Take 10 of them even. Why not take 8,000? That's how many seats are for sale now here inside Kemper Arena. Everything must go because they're repurposing this more than 40-year-old building, and a piece of history could be yours. From the Kansas City Kings to the King of Pop.
There were hundreds and hundreds of concerts, too.
Just about anybody who was somebody performed at Kemper Arena in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Oh.
Raise your hand if your team is 2-0. Chiefs Kingdom rocking as the team hangs on to beat Andy Reid's former team, the Eagles. Again, they're now 2-0, undefeated. 41 Action Sports anchor D. Jackson is at Arrowhead. And D, there was quite the scare at the end after the Eagles recovered that onside kick.
The season, how they finished it.
The Chiefs defeated the Super Bowl champions in a 42-27 victory. And guess what? We have team coverage. We start with Mike Maruzars and Mick Schaefer live at Gillette Stadium. Hey, guys.
Kevin Rhiannon.
You know, I think we could hear the fans that were inside Gillette Stadium, the Chiefs fans, we could hear them screaming all the way back here in Kansas City.
Under a hurricane warning.
Tonight, the governor there closed all schools starting tomorrow. This all comes as leaders warn people to get out now while they still can. The airports are packed. 1,700 troopers working to help move traffic out of the state as well. But there's one problem. You see, more than a third of the gas stations are now on E, and some companies are now price gouging.
News.
Safety first. Tom, thank you. Florida Power and Light reaching out to crews in Kansas ahead of the storm.
The utility company pre-selected a...
And as Florida prepares for Irma, Congress working to help Harvey survivors. Today, the Senate approved a $15.3 billion aid package. The House will vote on it tomorrow. The Senate also raised the debt limit to prevent a government shutdown next month.
Much more to you coming up in sports.
What a big victory, 42-27. Wow. Tonight, one Chiefs player making headlines for what he did off the field.
Cornerback Marcus Peters sat during the national anthem that delivers hundreds of new jobs and opportunities.
And now Kansas City, Missouri wants the chance to become Amazon's new home. But is the city kind of fit for the package?
41 Action News reporter Ariel Rothfield takes a look at what it will take to get...
I am your father, and this is your theater.
At least that's what a local independent-owned theater here in the Metro wants you to think. More on what they're working to do to make this experience unique. Head on the Now. For years, everyone in Shawnee would dress to the nines and drive, or in this case, hop in the horse-drawn carriage and giddy up onto the Aztec Theater. It's been a staple since the Roaring 20s. If you look at it today, that roar has kind of turned into a soft purr.
It's kind of sad, and it brings back a lot of memories.
But as the marquee indicates, an alternate ending is coming soon. It's something everyone can toast to, including those who still come down the street to Pegasus to get a side of nostalgia with their eggs.
Oh, my gosh, it's crazy.
You see, Beverly Wing's first movie.
My parents were pretty strict.
Was seen right here.
And so I snuck in. And I'm sitting there watching this movie with this boy, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. Every time that door would open, I just thought, oh, that's my parents, that's my parents. So I'm gonna get it.
That was more than 50 years ago. That boy she went with turned out to be her first husband.
Had 3 boys by him.
What did you see that day?
Dark at the top of the stairs.
Wing wasn't the only one sneaking into theaters.
I love coming to the Aztec Theater.
So was Susan Kilgore some 60 years ago.
And you still remember that it was fun and you had a good time. It was just so much easier then.
Liam Tripp and his wife Marie are looking to turn the theater on Johnson Drive back into Easy Street. They just bought the building and plan on restoring it so that Beverly Wing can create new memories with her current husband.
But you can only watch certain movies. He's not one for all this gushy stuff, you know, romance stuff.
The owners are asking for you to help write the next chapter. They have plans for the renovation, but will consider your input. Mo Sharifi, who runs Pega, says no matter what, the revitalization is sure to bring in bacon for the entire area.
More people to downtown is good for everybody, for all the businesses.
And a new generation of memories.
It was fun growing up here because we just did a lot.
The Transformers.
Yep.
Matchbox cars. Pez. I like that. Wiffle ball. Paper airplanes. I was the man at that as well. The winners will be inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame November 9th.
Cool.
It's like G.I. Joes and Muscle Men. Yeah, those are my things.
You were really good at that too, I'm assuming. He's really good at a lot of things, apparently.
I don't want to brag, but
oh, he'll brag.
we'll take another look at our lineup.